What is up, FightHype family? We are live and back at it again from the office, from the headquarters, one of the mother bases here in Las Vegas at FightHype HQ. And we're going live for the drama in Saitama, a huge battle in the Pacific Rim down in Japan between Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue and Filipino-American future legend, former 5-division champion, current WBC bantamweight champion Nonito Donaire, in really just about an undisputed fight. 3 of the 4 belts on the line, Ring Magazine belt on the line, the 2 best bantamweights in the world getting it on for the legitimate and lineal and unified bantamweight championship of the world in a rematch of 2019's Fight of the Year. So really excited. Had to get up early to call the action for this one. For all 13 of you that also are awake with me in America to watch this fight, I had to call it for you guys. And then even worse for the 8 of you that are up at the hour and don't have ESPN Plus, I got you covered. Surprisingly, at home, the unified champion, the ring champion, Inoue came to the ring first, had a Japanese rock star play a guitar solo for him to come out. And now here comes Nonito Donaire, the WBC champion, actually coming out second on the road, wearing his kind of Knicks colors, orange and blue, as the Filipino Flash comes to the ring. Again, rematch of a 2019 Fight of the Year, where Donaire did probably much better than expected. He was counted out after going too high up in weight, getting knocked out by Nicholas Walters, then looking really pedestrian in a rematch with Vic Darchinyan. Lost to Jesse Magdaleno at 122 pounds and just looked written off, looked past his prime, no doubt about it, and then made a big rejuvenation for himself at 118 pounds at bantamweight, back fighting guys closer to his natural weight, closer to his natural size. He was never a featherweight. And Donaire's had this amazing late career rally, gave Inoue all he could handle in 12 rounds, busted his face up permanently, damaged him permanently. And then he knocks out Nordine Bali in 4 rounds in LA last year to become the WBC champ. And it's been a great late career run for Nonito Donaire. His win over Ubali was kind of like when Roberto Duran beat up Iran Barkley at 37. Just a great late career performance to pick up the WBC title. And Donaire, in my eyes, has got to be one of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters in the history of the sport when you're talking about the year 2000 on forward in the new millennium. And a knockout over Inoue here could rank as the best win of his career, considering he's 40, considering where Inoue is ranked on the pound-for-pound list, how explosive and what a great fighter he's shown himself to be in these bantamweight and flyweight divisions. So right now, Inoue is in the rings, punching his own chin, hyping himself up, looking mean, looking like the monster. And here comes Donaire coming into the ring now, looking like he's very contemplative, not coming in mean or with a scowl, but coming in very contemplative, taking it in. His wife, Rachel, putting his orange mouthpiece in there. She'll be working the corner. She's not in a team robe. She's decked out in her black kind of nice dress clothes. But everybody else in Team Donaire clothes, but Rachel will be working the corner. And Inoue, almost with like a gray silver kind of hair look in the ring tonight. So let's see what's going on, chat. Let's see how many people we got in the chat. We got 4 people in the chat, and no one is yet to speak. So far, sometimes you gotta listen to the more experienced people in your life when they tell you things. So, but yeah, FightHype Live for all of you that will be joining. For all 4 of you, I got you. We are doing this live. We are doing this because 4 people in this or not, this is for the legitimate bantamweight championship of the world. 2 potential Hall of Famers. Donaire is going to the Hall of Fame. Inoue, wouldn't be surprised if when he calls it a day, he finds himself in the Hall of Fame one day. He's got a lot more proving to do to get there, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets there one day himself. So this could be a rematch of 2 Hall of Famers going on. All right, we got someone in the chat. We We got the great Samantha Sanchez in the chat. Shout out to you, Samantha Sanchez. Would love to meet you one day. Know you're a great fan of the site. All right, national anthem's playing now. The national anthem of the rising sun. Let's go, Donaire, says Nick Barkla. Okay, 53 people in the chat now. That's what I'm talking about. Huge influx. Yeah, national anthem's playing now. I can't tell you guys that I actually know the lyrics to the anthem of the nation of the rising sun. Couldn't tell you that. I'm pretty good at humming and staying on beat and filling in words here and there in the Mexican anthem, Del Cañón, and then, you know, just following the rhythm. But Japan totally lost. Philippines totally lost. The American one, thankfully, I do know. But yeah, that's my scorecard on knowing the anthems tonight. So we have a little fun. It is 5 o'clock in the morning where I'm at, so the diehards are rolling in. That's right. That's right. Tajdar, Hashmi, let's go. This match will be phenomenal. The first one was good. Just waking up in Kansas, tuning in. Shout out Boxing IQ, Tawasi. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Hello, watching from the Philippines. Chiloy Ramos, shout out to the Philippines, man. I know you're here in all likelihood supporting Donaire, but maybe you like Inoue as well. But again, Donaire is, you know, once you get past the names of Mayweather and Pacquiao and, you know, probably even, you know, De La Hoya, perhaps his Bay Area native Andre Ward. There's probably a couple guys in the year from the year 2000 on, although some of the guys you'd be quick to put up there from the 2000s had a lot of their success in the 90s, like Oscar, like Trinidad, like Roy. A lot of, you know, although they still had a great run in the first half of the 2000s, a lot of those guys had a lot of their heavy lifting done in the 90s. But anyways, as far as the 2000s on forward go, Donaire is one of the great pound-for-pound fighters of an era or two eras now. And if he beats Inoue, that would rank as maybe his best career win. Definitely one of them. And I don't think you go too far down the top 10 pound for pound or so of guys since the new millennium started before you get to a prime Donaire. So we're not even watching really a prime Donaire in there. Prime Donaire was the guy who knocked out Darchinyan, really all the way until the guy who knocked out Montiel. And then once he got to 122 pounds, he unified. He became the Ring Magazine champ. But once he started fighting guys like Jeffrey Matabula, Nishioka, and then he gets outclassed by Rigondeaux, he was a little bloated at 122 and up, a little soft, and fell in love under Robert Garcia with his power and stopped doing a lot of the athletic special things he could do that he was doing at flyweight that got him on the scene in 2007 originally. So now older Donaire, more kind of textbook style in his stance. He's not doing these crazy pivots and crazy punches off his angles. His hands are up and he's nice and slow and steady with incredible timing and still that incredible punching power and still explosive. So he's become a lot more of a matured, you know, veteran type fighter now with this dangerous level of calm and savvy and timing to go along with that historically legendary punching power he has in these bantamweight divisions. So it's been a different Donaire. And then as for Inoue, he just an incredible talent, you know, really good reflexes, really good feet, athletic, super athletic, and an incredible mixture of power, speed, and precision. Just incredibly straight, sharp punches, incredible body puncher, and a crazy blend of power and speed in these divisions. Definitely, Inoue is one of the most special fighters I've seen come around the bantamweight divisions, the flyweight divisions, and I do think he's one of the best pound for pound right now. Although his resume, like a lot of the like guys, you know, younger than him, still has proving to do. The Donaire win is exceptional. He's won 2 belts here in this division. Tonight would be his 3rd if he wins. He won a belt at super flyweight, but the resume still does need some improving to put him up there as the best of the best that's come through these divisions. But you look at a guy like Chocolatito, just 3 pounds below, and all the great wins he's had. So, but Inoue expected to win tonight, almost a 6-1 favorite. I think that's deserved with his youth and his speed. But Donaire has been very confident about getting this rematch. Honestly, I wish Donaire could have fought Casimero, or one of them could have taken out the WBO title holder, Casimero, before facing each other, just to really make it undisputed. But Casimero, after beating Guillermo Rigondeaux, just went through a string of bizarre occurrences and is just not in the picture right now. So, wow, almost 300 people here. Amazing. No audio, man, says Emmanuel De Leon. Maybe turn up, man, because I think everyone else is good. Could be something on yours. And Carson, what's up, man? Here we go. Round 1, and Donaire is the first guy on the front foot. Donaire coming forward in round 1. Inoue, black trunks, black Cleto Reyes gloves. Donaire with the puncher's gloves on, the MX Everlast gloves on. Again, wearing Knicks colors, blue and orange. Donaire starting on that front foot, and he puts the jab in Inoue's face. Inoue with his hands up to guard it. Now Inoue comes out with his jab, falls short. Donaire short with his jab. Both fighters looking to measure each other in round 1. Inoue short with a lead left hook there. As Donaire is backing Inoue up a bit here, but Inoue, bouncy legs, athletic, can fight going backwards and forwards. Inoue starts with his jab, steps forward, but comes short. Now Donaire comes back with a right hand to the body, but he falls short. Minute into the first. First, good left hook by Inoue. Caught by Donaire, but got in a little bit there too. Donaire got the glove up, but it got in a little bit too. Inoue coming with the jab, staying his ground a little bit now in the center of the ring. Both fighters in the center of the ring. Hands up for both guys. Neither guy's dropping that lead hand. Donaire dropping it just a little bit now. Stepping forward, short with a right hand. And Inoue steps out to the side using his legs. Inoue shoots the jab, shoots another jab. Donaire getting his head off the line away from it. But Inoue lands a jab as Donaire tries to reach in with a right hand to the body. Speed advantage and good feet right there by the younger fighter. Inoue shoots the jab. Donaire gets his head off the line, gets away from a body jab, and then eats a jab after that, after 3 jabs from Inoue. Good right hand by Inoue lands over the top. It was a lead right hand. Donaire was waiting on the jab. Little less than a minute now in round 1. Inoue ahead to start this fight. Good jab to the body by Inoue. Inoue now dropping his hands, trying to get creative, puts him right back up. Good jab by Inoue, shoots through the guard of Donaire. Donaire catches the left hook, but Inoue throws a second left hook, touches a good right hand by Donaire, though, and a good body shot. Good left hook to the body by Donaire. 30 seconds left in round 1. They trade jabs there. Donaire knocks Inoue off his balance just a little bit with his jab. Donaire loosening up, letting his hands go a little bit better, getting closer to range with his punches. Inoue comes back with a 1-2. Donaire getting his hands up. Now a jab from Inoue. Inoue letting his hands go. Right hand drops Donaire. Down goes Donaire. Inoue was pivoting around, using his athleticism, using his youth and his speed, and Donaire walked into a straight right hand by Inoue. That was the same kind of right hand that he dropped Jason Maloney with. Beautiful shot by Naoya Inoue. In round 1, that's it at the bell. And both fighters go back to their corners, 10-8 for the unified WBA IBF undefeated champion, Naoya Inoue, starting off with that straight right hand knockdown. Beautiful shot by Inoue. Boxing IQ Tawasi, thank you, brother. We love you for joining us, man. Yep, got dropped at the end of that round. Beautiful straight right hand by Inoue. Right there, the speed and the youth of Inoue, a little too much for the 40-year-old Donaire. He was kind of bouncing around him, using his feet, and getting off 2 or 3 to 1 because of the speed advantage. And there he was touching, and then all of a sudden, Donaire tries to open up. Boom, he eats the straight right hand down the pipe. Beautiful stuff for Inoue. And Inoue was pumped in the corner after that knockdown. Pumped, playing to the crowd almost a little bit, moving his hands around. Here we go, round 2. Can Inoue make this a shorter night than people thought it was going to be? Donaire went down, but that was late, much later in the fight, in their first fight in 2019. Oh, Donaire just off of the left hook, and he eats the left hand. Left hook lands for Inoue there. A little sharper and a little faster than Donaire. Inoue letting his hands go. Donaire getting his hands up, but it is having an effect. Now Donaire comes with a left hook, right uppercut, but Donaire hurt by a left hook. Donaire's legs wobbled by a left hook. Another left hook, right hand, left hook for Inoue. Straight right hand now for Inoue with Donaire along the ropes. Donaire landing a hard left to the body, but he is on a shaky ground right now. Left hook, straight right hand for Inoue. Donaire getting his hands up. Good shots, but left uppercut off a 1-2 for Inoue. Inoue getting off in combination. Donaire buzz. Left hook to the body for Inoue. Donaire coming forward while buzz shoots a right uppercut, putting Inoue on the ropes. Left hook lands down. Oh, Donaire badly hurt off a short left hook by Inoue. Donaire's legs like jelly as he gets backed into the ropes. Body shot combinations by Inoue. Jab lights Donaire's head up. 1-2, Donaire wobbling into the corner. 1, 2, 3, down goes Nonito Donaire in round 2. That's it. It's a second round knockout for Naoya Inoue in a dominant 2-round blitzing of future Hall of Famer Nonito Donaire. Puts an emphatic statement on the end to a quick 2-fight rivalry. Inoue now, the WBA, WBC, IBF, Ring Magazine Bantamweight champion. Really an all-time great kind of scintillating performance. Yeah, Donaire's 40, but he still had the WBC strap, was still looking good coming into this, and he was just totally blitzed. What a performance by Inoue. The athleticism, the speed, the willingness to open up, the offensive explosiveness, just a special bantamweight you're seeing in Naoya Inoue, in my opinion, folks. Gonna need to continue to prove himself at 29 years old. Your best win can't maybe always be against a 40-year-old Donaire, although there's other prominent fighters with wins not as impressive as that. But I think the body of work should continue to improve. But to my eyes, he is an all-time great at 118, 115, folks. He's just the eye test tells you that, along with being almost undisputed now. So all that remains, I believe, is either Paul Butler or John Ryle Casimero. Actually, let me just chat. You could tell me quickly offhand, but I think who has that WBO title? Was Casimero again stripped after all? Yeah, because he doesn't have the belt anymore. I know Casimero doesn't have it. So what is that? Paul Butler? That leaves Paul Butler. No chance in hell. You could cue the Vince McMahon entrance song from WWF back in the day, because he has no chance. That's what he got. Yeah. So yeah, no chance in hell. Yes. So that's basically every bantamweight's chances with Inoue right now. But I'll tell you one guy, if you want to get him beat, if you're for some reason, if you're Inoue's manager and you're mad because your girl keeps looking at Inoue every time you bring her to the fights or something, you want to sabotage him. The sabotage fight, the dumb fight would be to go to 122 and fight Stephen Fulton. That's the way to get this kid knocked off, because Fulton's length, being a natural 22-pounder, his movement, not letting Inoue set his feet to, although Inoue showed tonight, and a lot of times he is athletic and has great life in his legs. So maybe he could punch on the move if forced to cut the ring off. But he's a guy who started at 115. Fulton's a 22-pounder, taller than him, longer armed, can fight really well off the back foot. I think that's a really ugly fight for Inoue. Not saying he can't win that fight, but I don't know if I favor him. But at 118, nobody touches him. And maybe if he can continue to make this weight, I'm fine with him staying and reigning and dominating. I would love, even though there's this, maybe he's a little too much, but I would love to see Chocolatito still move up to 118 and fuck it. I know that's really pushing beyond how big Chocolatito is, but I'd love to see him move up and let's see that fight. Even guys like Bam Rodriguez at 5'2" or so are really too small, probably for Inoue, but I'd even love to see him move up one day and maybe face Inoue. But yeah, just a great bantamweight. Inoue with 3 belts in the ring now. Donaire, face looked very marked up for just a round and a half. Looked like he was in a longer fight than that, but Donaire's had a hell of a career. He's one of the great fighters of the last era or two, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame in Canastota, first ballot. So will I, by the way, along with the founder of FightHype, my man BT. We will both be in Canastota this weekend for the trilogy for the 2020, 2021, 2022 Hall of Fame induction, International Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. 2020 and 2021 were both cut off because of the pandemic, but you got guys like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Miguel Cotto, James Toney, Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, Juan Manuel Marquez, Vladimir Klitschko, Layla Ali, and Wolf, all getting into the Hall of Fame. So we'll have all that coverage for you this week because there's no fights this week, but we got some Hall of Fame coverage coming your way this weekend. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, man. Okay, let's see, chat. Let's answer some questions. Let's see what the chat is talking about. What is Inoue's maximum weight potential? I really think this is his best weight right now. I do think he could be effective at 122, but the Fulton fight with what he brings to the table represents maybe a fight that could get him knocked off, because Fulton may be a featherweight one day. Inoue started at 115. So that's a big guy to go up against, and that you're going to have to really have your legs underneath you and be ready to cut the ring off. If you're Inoue, not saying he can't do those things. He certainly shows the athleticism in his feet to be capable maybe of doing that. But that's a great fight. If Inoue is looking to be the dominant bantamweight, one of the all-time greats at bantamweight, I'm fine with that. As long as he faces the top fighters, the top contenders and challengers in the division, I'm fine with that. Immediately go after Paul Butler and take that WBO belt off, be finished with this undisputed stuff. But if he wants to be a number one pound for pound, if he's saying to himself, what do I got to do to jump past a Canelo, Crawford, a Spence, guys like that, and Usyk, he would have to move up and take that Fulton fight. And if he could beat Stephen Fulton, that would truly be a pound for pound number one kind of win, kind of proving ground there. So that's what I think about that for Inoue. Are you going to cover, will you ever do another Punk show? Nah, I would love to have made the money Ashton Kutcher made on Punk. So I would do another Punk show. But are you going to cover Beterbiev versus Joe Smith? Yeah, I'm definitely covering that. We'll be live for that. I mean, we were going to be live for Big Charlo, for Jamal Charlo's Selesky fight as well. But that got postponed yesterday because of a back injury for Charlo. So that now we can focus in on the Joe Smith, Artur Beterbiev fight, like this fight, for 3 belts. Tonight was the WBA and the IBF and WBC. Next week will be the WBO, the IBF and the WBC. But again, the lineal crown on the line, the ring crown, 3 of the 4 belts on the line, just like tonight's fight or this morning's fight. And that should be a barn burner. Someone should get stopped, like we saw in 2 rounds tonight. But someone should get stopped between Beterbiev and Smith. Beterbiev, every fight he's ever been in, he's won by knockout. Smith has an incredibly high KO percentage. So then again, Joe Smith is used to work with cement, and apparently some of that must have coursed through his bloodstream. He was working in the union so long out there in New York because he's got cement in his hands and in his chin. I could see Joe Smith going the distance and losing a wide decision and being the first guy to take Beterbiev's power for 12 rounds. So that's not out of the question. But yeah, Beterbiev's the favorite in that fight. But I saw Joe Smith in his recent fights try to move around, try to incorporate some boxing like he did against Jesse Hart. And that might serve him well in this fight. He might do good surprising Beterbiev fighting off the back foot a little bit. But a fighter like Marcus Brown does that kind of naturally. And he wasn't able to outbox Artur Beterbiev. He wasn't able to do that. And I don't know if Joe Smith boxes as well as Marcus Brown, but he definitely punches harder than Marcus Brown and definitely is more durable and resilient than Marcus Brown. So that should be an excellent fight for the fans in terms of action. I'm looking forward to it. Probably give the edge to Beterbiev, but Smith is, I think, a little younger, and he, in terms of physical strength, is one of the strongest fighters I've seen ringside. Joe Smith, and when he was getting thoroughly beaten by Sullivan Barrera on HBO a few years ago, I still couldn't help but notice how strong he was ringside. Just his ability to take a shot and not always land, not the fastest hands in the world, but if he can touch you, if he can hit you, that man can really fucking crack. He's definitely in the same ballpark of power as Beterbiev. So he has the power to knock out Beterbiev. I remember covering Beterbiev's fight against Callum Johnson in Chicago and seeing him get dropped. So I know Joe Smith can drop him. So we'll see. That glove change really made a difference, said Not Another Skate Challenge. Yeah, tonight. So last time, fights in Japan, winning gloves, a beloved glove, but really a beloved training glove by championship fighters. Not a glove a lot of guys like to fight in. And it's a little odd that maybe it's a money thing. Maybe it was a money thing. Winning could have paid a lot of money to make sure these two fighters used their gloves in 2019. But, they're a Japanese-based company, and it was a super fight in Japan. So first fight around, Donaire and Inoue wear the winning gloves. Tonight, they both put on the puncher's glove. Actually, kind of cool for Inoue to get the knockout in Cleto Reyes gloves. I never really see fighters wear Cleto Reyes. Back in the 2000s, Grant was hot, but Cleto Reyes was the hottest gloves in the sport for years in the 2000s, and even in the 80s, along with Everlast. But and then in the early 2010s, it fell off. It just fell off. I heard the gloves weren't made as good as they used to be. But yeah, Inoue wears the Cleto Reyes gloves, gets the knockout. Donaire was wearing puncher gloves too, the Everlast MX puncher gloves. Those have become super popular. Really, once they got invented almost 10 years ago, that's when the Everlast MX gloves took off, because they had their time where nobody was wearing Everlast, where Everlast was looked at as like the Walmart brand. But they came back in a big way. So yeah, me personally, I like Grant gloves, but that's just me. They're stylish. I think wearing Grant gloves, they're the best at catching shots. So no wonder sometimes, Floyd loved those gloves, because defensively, it just always felt very comfortable catching shots on the Grant gloves. They feel like the boxer's gloves, not like the winning gloves where they're too soft and you can't crack with them. They even make puncher style Grant gloves, and Grant gloves are the only, well, not the only, but they're the prominent made in Mexico gloves too. Cleto Reyes used to have that, but yeah, so great value gloves. The Filipino Slayer, someone said, Fulton will school Goku. That's a great fight, man. Again, I think if Fulton isn't near the entry level of the top 10 pound for pound, he's just outside of it. He's definitely top 15. Actually, while we're at it, folks, I had a top 13 pound for pound I came up with. I just can't limit it to 10. I don't feel right keeping off some of these guys. It's too hard for me to say which three get taken off the top 10. Maybe you guys could tell me, but here, I'm pulling it up now. So here are the top, I'm going to say 13 pound for pound. No real order. There's no real order. First, before I get there, I'll say I don't have Lomachenko in this top 13, but he is still an elite fighter, still in that top 20 to 15 range. I think Benavidez, the resume is lacking, but my eye test says he could definitely be on that pound for pound list if given the opportunity. Same thing with Jaron Boots Ennis. Fighters like Ioka, I acknowledge as being really excellent fighters. Same with Estrada. Bam Rodriguez is on the rise. Jamal Charlo, if put in the right fights, I think could still be a guy who could one day get there to that pound for pound, but his brother is on the list. So with that said, here we go. The top 13 pound for pound fighters, I would say in no order, are Terrence Crawford, Alexander Usyk, Canelo Alvarez, Errol Spence, Jermell Charlo, Tyson Fury, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Naoya Inoue, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Gervonta Tank Davis, Stephen Fulton, and Dimitri Bivol. I would say are the 13 guys that you gotta be in your top 10. You keep off the 3 you don't want and put on the, leave off the 3 you don't want. But I would say those 13 guys right now are operating as the best in the sport. So let's see what you guys think about that. Mr. Mendez with the blasphemy. Donaire is a bum. I don't know how he even got a title shot. He got a title shot because he's been in probably 20 title fights and won titles in 5 divisions. He knocked out Ubali, who had the WBC belt. Ubali won that belt by piecing up Rasheed Warren, who is, one of the beloved amateur standouts in American boxing in the last 15 years or so. Rasheed Warren, when you talk to your favorite fighters, your Terrence Crawfords and your Errol Spence, they'll all be sing his praises going back as kids and teenagers to the amateurs. But Donaire stretched Ubali in 4 rounds to even get this belt. The reason why, how did he get a title shot is because he got a title. He's a world champion and brought a belt to the table to entice Inoue to make a rematch. No Haney, said Thomas. I said Haney. Haney's on the list. Tank and no Haney. Haney's on the list. Yeah, I said Haney. I'll say it again. Say it again. Terrence Crawford, Alexander Usyk, Canelo Alvarez, Errol Spence, Jermell Charlo, Tyson Fury, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Naoya Inoue, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Gervonta Tank Davis, Stephen Fulton, and Dimitri Bivol. And I think, and I mentioned honorable mentions, guys like Loma. I think Boots and Benavidez are there eye test wise. They just need the opponents. Kazuto Ioka is an excellent fighter. So is Estrada still. Bam Rodriguez is on the rise, and I still like Jamal Charlo. And there's still tons of good fighters beyond the ones I named, but those 13 I first named are the guys that I gotta put in that top 10. I just don't know which 3 do I leave off. Do I leave off Tank, Fulton, and Bivol, or do I take off someone like, maybe even Chocolatito, who is still operating in a high level and is as accomplished as almost anybody, but it isn't in his peak. Some of those younger guys, if they were to fight head to head in a pound for pound hypothetical, might outbox them with their youth. But it's tough to say which 3 I leave off of those 13. So let's see. All right. Yeah, definitely did say Haney. If Bam beats Rungvisai, he is definitely top 10. No, Rungvisai isn't even a world champion right now. Rungvisai has always been a dangerous top guy in these divisions. He has one of the best wins any active fighter has in the sport right now. He knocked out Chocolatito in 3 or 4 rounds. But outside of that win, he beat Estrada. Yeah, I mean, he's an excellent fighter with a really good resume, but I don't think that fight wouldn't make Bam a lineal champion. It wouldn't unify him. It wouldn't do enough, in my opinion, to take someone like Haney, who's undisputed, off of there, or Shakur, who's unified and beat the top guy in Valdez off of there, or Tank, who's been a champ for over 5 years, or Inoue. I think Bam is knocking on the door. I think his fight to get on the pound for pound list is beating Chocolatito. That's the handing of the torch fight. I think the moment Bam gets on the list is when I think inevitably will fight Chocolatito, because the zone's going to want to make that fight and Eddie Hearn's going to want to make that fight. Let's see. Beterbiev is better than Bivol. I've always preferred Bivol. I kind of think he's a little bit better boxer, a little bit better hand speed. better feet. Those are the attributes I prefer over the fact that Beterbiev is stronger and punches harder. But because I think Bivol has enough of that, he brings enough of that to the table. Bivol is strong and he punches hard. Not a knockout puncher and not a monster strength like Beterbiev, but he is plenty strong, like we saw against Canelo. And he has better feet and a little bit better hand speed than Beterbiev. So I don't know that it looks like we will see those two mix it up, but I don't count out Canelo in a rematch with Bivol, although most people who know the sport do. Do I know Casemiro? Yeah, I've covered Casemiro. He's explosive, but I don't think he has anything. He has anything for Inoue. He's not going to outslug Inoue, and he's not going to outbox Inoue. Inoue is a more compact puncher. Casemiro has some athleticism, but Inoue is just a sharper technical fighter, much better fundamentals. Like we saw with Tank and Rolly, his punches are shorter and delivered more compact. Casemiro punches wider. And he's more of a sharpshooter than Casemiro. Punches even harder than Casemiro. That's a win for Inoue. But he's got to go ahead and take out Butler now. Striving for Kingdom Entertainment said Tank is not a champion. No, he's not. But I think he did win. He definitely won the IBF against Pedraza back 5 years ago. And, Santa Cruz avenged his only loss to Frampton, was a little guy, but did have a world title at 130 at one point too, and brought some juice into the ring, fought a good fight. And that's a good win, knocking out Santa Cruz. Barrios, was like a top 10-ish guy at 140, but tall kid, went on to go the distance with Keith Thurman. That's a solid win for Tank. And then Cruz is aging well, even though that was a tough fight, but one he definitely won. Cruz is aging well is a good win. He's done it in a couple divisions. He's knocked out almost everyone he's fought except Cruz. So Tank is, I'm fine if you leave Tank off the top 10 and put him in that top 15 instead because of what you're talking about. Me personally, I thought Stevenson and Haney in a pound for pound, they catapulted themselves over Tank recently with their wins over Valdez and Kambosos because it made them the man of their divisions. And that holds a lot of weight for me. Even though you would point out, well, Tank would probably stop Valdez, not just go the distance and school him like Shakur, sure. But Shakur was the one to do that, and he was the one to do that when Valdez was undefeated and was the #1 rated guy at 130. So that makes Shakur the man. That's something that Tank has lacked in any division he's fought. When he knocked off Pedraza, it was a legitimate world champion, world title holder, but still yet to unify, still yet to cement himself as the man in his division. Now, he would tell you, and Leonard Ellerby would tell you, he is the man of his division because no one can draw at the box office like he can, and no one can get knockouts like he can. And I understand that as well. So, but Tank, if not top 10, is right there, right after. Definitely a top 10 pound for pound type of talent. But I'm old school. I put guys like Stevenson and Haney still ahead of him because they're the man of the division that they fight in. Let's see. Tank will sleep. Ryan Garcia. Yeah, well, Tank's been in world title fights since 2017, and Ryan's never been in one. So Tank should win that fight if they were to make that fight right now, And I think he would. So I think that has a lot to do with why Ryan doesn't want to, or Oscar De La Hoya. Well, it's business is more than anything too, but I think Oscar knows his guy ain't ready for Tank. That makes no sense. Tank top 3 in 135. Absolutely, he's top 3 in 135. But that doesn't make you the man in your division. Being the man in your division is being #1 in your division, not top 3. And I do think that could hurt you in a pound for pound sense. In your ranking, is you may be, maybe you think Tank is better than. Maybe you think Tank is better than Jermell Charlo in terms of just eye test and skills and all that stuff. But Jermell Charlo's undisputed. He's cleaned out his division and he's the top dog in his division. So you got to give Charlo, well, you don't have to, but in me, I give him that ranking over someone like Tank because he's the man in his division. That's just an old school thing. That's something I've been into always in boxing, even when maybe it's stubborn. Like when Floyd Mayweather, everybody wanted to see him fight Margarito in 2006. I was shouting out, nope, let's Baldomir fight because Baldomir's the champion. Baldomir beat Zab. He's lineal. I was one of the people saying, no, I'm not. I'm with Floyd. You do the Baldomir fight because he's lineal. He's the champ. He's the man. He's the man of the division. Even though we all knew Margarito was actually a tougher fight, I was a traditionalist about it, and that still carries to my pound for pound rankings. So, who should Tank fight next? I mean, I think Tank and Devin Haney is gonna become the Crawford Spence of the lightweight division in more ways than one. Not only is it going to become the Crawford and Spence of the division in that, I know some people still put out Ryan's name and Lomachenko's name. Tio's headed to 140, so, but I really think it's going to become apparent to everybody that Tank and Haney are the best lightweights in the world, and that's the real number 1 versus number 2 fight. I know we got a lot of Lomachenko lovers out there. I still think he's an elite fighter, but the youth, and he started at 26. If he runs into Haney, he'll lose to Haney. Haney's length, his youth, his length, he's a star going up, and Lomas is going down in his 30s. So, Haney with his size and youth, he should be able to win that fight in his length, his jab. So I think it'll become apparent to everyone, Tank and Haney is the Crawford Spence at lightweight. But just like that fight, it's PBC and Top Rank right now. And just like that fight, it's not going to happen probably for a number of years, unfortunately. But it will be the fight. It's not right now. People don't see it quite yet. But trust me, that fight a year from now, after another performance or two from each fighter, will be the fight the real fans are demanding in the lightweight division. So, Loma already ducked Haney and lost to Tito. I don't know. I mean, I never felt that way about that situation. If Lomachenko wanted to be undisputed, and then the politics of the sport is, Haney was not a top-ranked fighter, and Lopez was. And Lopez already had a belt. Lomachenko already gets the WBC belt with Luke Campbell. His priorities are undisputed, and it's the fight he actually can make with Lopez. If Lomachenko would have beaten Lopez and then not fought Haney, I'm with you. That's totally ducking Haney. But saying, nah, I want to collect all the belts first. Plus, this kid is with the same promoter and manager. It's 1, 2, 3. We signed. We put it on ESPN. It's for undisputed, in quotes, and that's what they did. But he lost to Lopez, and then Lopez had talked a lot but didn't want to fight Haney. At least not immediately. And then he gets knocked off by Kambosos. And it was good karma for Devin because Lomachenko does what you said. He doesn't face his mandatory. He opts to fight Lopez. And then Lopez does a lot of talking, but doesn't really look Haney's direction. And in Devin's karma, a guy, an unheralded guy wins it, and he gives the shot to Devin when the others wouldn't. And Devin takes care of business last Saturday and is undisputed now. So, let's see. Paulie had more power than Haney. That's just not true. This is not true. Troy also said, along with that Paulie comment, that he's not Pretty Boy Floyd. Well, no one's Pretty Boy Floyd. No one's Pretty Boy Floyd. Let him be Devin Haney. And he's now the lightweight champion. I think he's going to be one of the top fighters, the elite fighters for the next decade in this sport. And at 23 years old, he's going to get a lot better. People are saying, well, he just won that fight off his jab. He did land a couple right hands and a beautiful uppercut in the fourth too. But I think it was just about getting the W over there, man. And if the jab was taking you home, the jab took him home and got him the belts. I think he'll build off that performance. I think he's gotten better from Linares, from Gamboa, a little bit from Diaz to Linares, and certainly better from Kambosos from those fights. he rediscovered his jab in this fight. You know, the combinations were beautiful against Linares. Diaz, being a southpaw, the angles he took, the high guard, he took away Devin's jab a little bit from as opposed to the level we're used to seeing it at. But I felt like this was the old school Devin Haney jab that really got people's attention in 2019, that set up the knockout against Antonio Moran and that broke the orbital bone of Zaur Abdullayev. And then after that, Devin had to have surgery on his shoulder. And I felt like his jab wasn't quite as dominant since then, but he really went back to it in the Kambosos fight. And when you can build off the jab and you have a great defense, you know, sky's the limit, you know. So, but yeah, no one's gonna be Pretty Boy Floyd. I mean, that man was an alien, you know. He at 130 pounds, he was just otherworldly reflexes and hand speed. I mean, there's fast and then there's whatever he was at 130 pounds. You know, only 130 pounder I could think of on his level of speed. Pacquiao had a different kind of speed. He never had the single shot speed, that pop shot speed that Floyd had or Pernell Whitaker had. He's a once he gets him rolling like water, he's a combination speed kind of guy. But Floyd had that incredible ping, 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 that 1 or 2 punch, ping, ping, you know, laser speed on his shots. The only guy I could think of at 30 is maybe Camacho had that kind of speed that Floyd had at 130. Hector Camacho when he was young, knocking out Bazooka Limon. Let's see. There's a reason why Kambosos wouldn't go for broke. Yeah, that jab makes you reset, man. Even if it's not hurting you, just that sting and that pull, you know, you're getting ready, bing, and that jab is and Devin has good pop in that jab. You know, it's a piston, so that jab makes you reset, and it's just not as easy as it looks. And it was just a bad style matchup for Kambosos. Kambosos is Haney wound up being right. You know, Diaz was the tougher fight because Diaz doesn't like to drop that lead hand. He doesn't rely on his speed and in and out. He comes forward constantly, intelligent pressure, hands up, and that was a better style for Haney than Kambosos was. Kambosos likes to fight at range sometimes. He has fast hands, but ran into a longer, faster guy in Haney. So yeah, Gold Rush, second round knockout for Inoue. Again, to recap, dominant, sizzling, scintillating performance for Naoya Inoue tonight, or this morning in America, tonight in Japan. Just dropped Donaire with a straight right hand, 10 seconds left in the first round. Then he just lets the combinations go, landed a couple of hard left hands, left uppercuts, left hooks. Donaire looked his age and just couldn't hold up. It was a complete blitz from Inoue in 2 rounds. Best performance of his career. Yeah, incredible stuff. The monster needs to fight more, though. I mean, 23 fights at almost 30 years old. That's just not cutting it. He's had years where he's only fought once a year, including last year, where he knocked out Das Marinas in Vegas. He needs to fight more. He really does. He needs to get back in the ring this year. No question about that. Fight Butler, finish out undisputed in 2022, and take it from there, you know. So yeah, we'll wrap up in a minute here. If anybody wants to shoot any questions my way, let me just chill for a second and read the chat. Who should Inoue fight next? It should be what's up, Miguel? Thanks for the question. It should be Paul Butler. Finish off undisputed. And then if I'm his manager, man, we're gonna reign at 18 as undisputed. We're gonna be the best bantamweight. We're gonna challenge Idor Jorfe for best bantamweight of all time. We're gonna wait for those star super flyweights on DAZN to come our way, because we know we could beat all of them. You know, Bam is too little. As exceptional as a young fighter he is, but if you're moving his career, you don't jump up 2 weight classes and do that fight anyway. But you wait on the Chocolatitos, you wait on the Estradas, you wait on some of those names that fit the Soren Visais. You wait on some of those guys who have drawn some money in America at 15 and And I think especially Chocolatito, if he's feeling froggy and can move up another 3 pounds. But if you're looking, I said this earlier in the stream, if you're Fulton and it's, how do I leapfrog the fighters like Crawford and Spence and Canelo? How can I do that? He'd have to move up to 22 and fight Fulton and beat Fulton. But I think that's a good way to get beat. And I'd stay at 18 and make some good money waiting on a Chocolatito type of fight. That's what I'd do. Let's see. Brandon Figueroa on that matchup for Inoue. Jesus. Figueroa just too physically big to ever see that fight happening. Inoue is definitely a better fighter than him. But Figueroa kind of has that Antonio Margarito effect at 122. He's so tall and big and takes such good punishment coming forward. He's so relentless. I'd have been fine if Figueroa won that fight. That was a close fight. I had it for Fulton, but I'd have been okay if Figueroa won it. That was a great fight. Great win by Fulton. Let's see here. Inoue ethers Chocolatito. Yeah, I think he does too. But it's a good money fight for both guys. And, Chocolatito has done everything he can in those divisions, except maybe run it back a third time with Soren Visai. But no, I mean, Chocolatito, I'm saying what I would want for Inoue. Chocolatito's better off sticking around 15, getting his DAZN money, and then facing off with Bam inevitably. That's actually probably what's going to happen. So for Inoue, just become undisputed and take it from there. Yeah. But again, if you want to be number one pound for pound, run to the PBC and fight Fulton. That'd be a big, big balls move, and that could very well backfire. But he's a great fighter. Navarrete, sheesh. Navarrete against Inoue. Does any 115-pounder give Inoue a good fight? I don't really think so, man. He's a problem. I think those guys are too little. Because Chocolatito started at 105. Akeem Denham, Fulton washes Inoue. I could see that. Could see it. Although Inoue has shown me in his fights he has athletic feet. So he might be sleeping on his ability to punch and move while Fulton's on the move. But he's never seen anything like Fulton. And he is little in comparison. Yeah, fight's been well over. Again, Inoue by second round knockout. Beautiful performance by him. All right. That might be it, guys. Navarrete versus Shakur at 130. Shakur. Navarrete has no size advantage there. Shakur actually is a guy who fills out in between fights, walks around probably like 150-ish. But Shakur is listed at 5'7". Navarrete wouldn't look like this tall guy against him. He'd be in against one of Navarrete's big advantages, squeezing down to 22 and 26, is his size. Great left uppercut, long left uppercut on the outside. I love that punch from Navarrete. I think Navarrete's a lot better served fighting Valdez at 130 than Stevenson. Stevenson beats him. Casimero, Inoue by knockout. Casimero too wide with his punches. Inoue just better technically sound, better fundamentals, can fight both ways, backwards, forwards. Yeah, Inoue beats Casimero. Navarrete is unpredictable. I don't know about that, Sean. You sound like a casual. I sound like a casual because I think Shakur Stevenson beats Emmanuel Navarrete. All right. Favorite part about Porterweight podcast, just hanging out with Sean and the guys and getting the opportunity to just, do my thing and offer up my best observations on the sport. And just hanging out with the guys. All wholesome dudes, Keyshawn Davis versus Rayo or Cruz? Good question. And real quick too, does Haney's style and lack of power prevent him from headlining a pay-per-view? Absolutely not. They said the same thing about Mayweather at welterweight. So no, absolutely not. Devin keeps winning. He will be on pay-per-view at some point. Bernard Hopkins made it on pay-per-view without getting knockouts and without, with a gap tooth and being almost 40 years old. He got there. So, but let me see here. What was that other question I missed a second ago? Oh, Ryo versus Keyshawn. I'm very high on Keyshawn. Only thing Keyshawn's ever going to have to look out for is a sense of urgency, not letting rounds get away from him, being too patient. But other than that, and he didn't show that his last fight. Keyshawn looked exceptional his last fight. I love Keyshawn. Ryo is heavy-handed. Ryo can punch and has balls, is willing to keep his nose in there and punch when the other guy's punching in exchange. And then Isak is got very good fundamentals, very tight, keeps that chin really tucked, keeps everything very tight, and is explosive, has good hand speed and good combinations. A little one-dimensional. If you know how to use your length on the outside, maybe you can neutralize him. But man, he knows how to keep it tight in there, keep his guard tight and hands up, chin down. Good defense, actually, really good. Not a lot of special effects with the defense, but good, fundamentally sound defense from Isak Cruz, good power. So out of the three of them, I like Keyshawn the best. So out of three of them, I like Keyshawn the best. I think Ryo has the talent to beat Cruz, but right now Cruz would probably win that fight. I think Ryo's too green for that fight, but that fight would be an excellent fight in the next year to year and a half for Ryo. Maybe the next year. Julio Cesar Chavez destroyed the Philly shell defense of Roger Mayweather twice. Indeed, he did. Great win for Julio, but he didn't beat that defense against Pernell Whitaker. So it's not like he had the end-all, be-all remedy to that type of style. Whitaker boxed his ears off. But he did knock out a prime Roger Mayweather. That's one of his best wins. It was a great win. Let's see. Do you think Ryo will be a champion? We'll see. I think he's a talented fighter in a very talented division. If Ryo had the same skill set and punching power at 26, yes, he'll be world champion. But at 35, where all the belts are, to be world champion right now, that would mean he'd have to beat Devin Haney or Tank Davis. Does Ryo Valenzuela with 12 fights right now beat Devin Haney or Tank Davis? No. So there's a lot of belts in the sport. Yes, I do. Yes, I think Ryo will become a world champion, if not an interim world champion. But my hesitancy in saying that has more to do with the depth in the divisions he's fighting in more than it does his talent. I like his talent. He has very good talent. But he does like to trust himself, his reflexes with his hands down, and he'll fight in range and exchange and rely on his head to get, and that can get him in trouble at the top level. We'll see how that translates against guys with the best hand speed and skills. But so far, so good. I believe in that power and that body work. And he has a very good offense and coming along good in that Benavidez camp. Never tried Nike KOs. Rudy Tupapa, who do you got, Sean? Inoue versus Fulton. Look, I think Inoue is a better, and I'm really high on Fulton. I think Fulton is elite. I think Inoue is a slightly better fighter than Fulton, is a better fighter than Fulton pound for pound. But starting at 15 and having to chase down Fulton all night, who fights so well off the back foot and is active off the back foot, isn't just pop shotting, and he's setting up hard left hooks. He's shooting right hands off the jab. And when he wants to, he knows how to get Philadelphia in there and come forward and mix it up too. I got Fulton in that fight. But I think Inoue is incredible. He's one of the best I've ever seen in that division. But I think he's the size and the style would be a lot of problems for him. Let's see. Does Romero beat Kambosos? I don't know. I think Romero, as long as he hasn't lost his confidence, because that can happen to a puncher when they get knocked out. But I think as long as Romero learns from that fight and doesn't get worse, I think he's an interesting fight for anybody at lightweight. So Benavidez is ducking 175. It's not ducking 175. The money's at 68, and his handlers know that. And then the fights that can be made at 75, Bivol is the zone. Not going to happen for a PBC fighter. And Beterbiev at ESPN. And I kind of know they aren't interested in that fight, again, for political reasons. ESPN top rank. They're not looking at $2-3 million paydays against Dimitri Bivol and Beterbiev. They're looking to set up, an 8-figure payday against Canelo Alvarez, if not a lot more money being generated fighting one of their own guys against Charlo or Plant at 68. That's why David's not at 75, is the reality of the situation. I'm not saying that because I like David. I'm with you. I wanted David to move up to 175 back in 2020 when he got stripped of the belt because he couldn't make it. I said, you know what? Just forget it. Charlo doesn't really want to move up and fight you. Plant doesn't want to fight you. He's going to get the Canelo fight. You're killing yourself to make 68. Why not move up to 75, where he was immediately, I think, rated number 1 at 75 for the WBC once he couldn't make weight at 68. Why not take that, cash in that kind of money in the bank, mandatory type position, and go to ESPN, knock off Beterbiev, because I truly believe David Benavidez would beat Beterbiev. He is a light heavyweight fighting at super middleweight, so size isn't an issue. And he is 2 or 3 times quicker hand speed than Beterbiev. And that means a lot. Great jab to set it all up. And what he could have done was cut off Canelo. Canelo inevitably, as you see, after becoming undisputed 68, was going to go to 75. Benavidez might have gotten that fight if he had the WBC belt to entice him, but that's not what happened. And so now that didn't happen, he is better off just sticking around at 68 at this point, barring his handlers allowing him to fight a Beterbiev Smith winner or something. But that's not going to happen. So 68 is where it's at for him. Drummers said, one of the best on the internet. It's always objective with insight. Thank you, man. I'm trying to, what's the point of breaking it down if you're going to be too biased? You're not going to get to any truth, so just try to make the correct observations in the fights, in the making of the fights, whatever, that way we can get to some clarity. Jimmy Lennon or Michael Buffer? Michael Buffer all day. Although I grew to appreciate Jimmy Lennon more. I used to, like growing up in the 2000s watching boxing, Showtime really was the B-side. Like HBO production-wise, camera quality-wise, they were the A-team. They were the A-side. So I associated Jimmy Lennon with that B-quality production. And Al Bernstein was excellent, but and actually, Steve Albert, Marv Albert's brother, on those old Showtime telecasts, super underrated. Like going back and watching Corrales Castillo and a number of fights, he was an excellent blow-by-blow guy, Steve Albert. But HBO was untouchable at that time, and Michael Buffer was part of that crew with Jim Lampley and Roy and Emmanuel, and so I was a Michael Buffer guy all day. Something about Michael Buffer ain't been the same since he got to DAZN. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's just the fights. The fights and DAZN's production isn't the best, and that kind of it starts to affect your perception on him. Because now I'm almost more of a Jimmy Lennon guy. The It's Showtime gets me more hyped, but maybe it's because Showtime puts on bigger fights in America more often. So, should Donaire retire? Yeah, he should retire. If he wants to hang it up on a win, fight an opponent back in the States, get a knockout, and retire with a win, that's fine. But yeah, I think he should retire. Maybe, I don't know, if Richard Schaefer can get him a Paul Butler fight, He could retire on that fight, but yeah, this is a wrap. Sean, do you know what happened to Lionel Thompson? He beat Uzi and disappeared. Dude was a good fighter. Yeah, he got offered what he felt wasn't enough money to fight David Benavidez. Didn't take the money. I guess I shouldn't disclose numbers, but it is a lower number. I'll say this: it was six figures, but it was a significantly lower number than we're used to seeing in a main event purse for that kind of fight. And he turned it down and hasn't had any opportunity since turning it down. And that's what's happened with Lonnie since Uzcategui. Damn, he devalued the Let's Get Ready to Rumble brand. Always poignant observations from the founder of FightHype. It's a bad man. Devalued the Let's Get Ready to Rumble brand. You know, did you feel like, speaking of devaluing the Ready to Rumble brand, anybody remember that movie from 2000 about WCW called Ready to Rumble with David Arquette? Now that should have devalued the great Ready to Rumble brand, but that's how great HBO was in the year 2000 when they were putting on De La Hoya Mosley and Trinidad Vargas and Morales Barrera and yeah, that's how untouchable that's how untouchable the Ready to Rumble brand was. They could come out with a shit movie called Ready to Rumble and it didn't matter. But call some shitty fights in England and it can't withstand that kind of problems. Haney versus Sweet Pea, who wins? I'm gonna say Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is arguably, along with Duran, Benny Leonard, I test Shane Mosley, the greatest lightweight of all time. But Devin is the first undisputed lightweight champion, true undisputed since Sweet Pea in 31 years. So let's not take away from Devin. And Sweet Pea was firing on all cylinders. He had that Olympic gold medal experience that Devin didn't have. Devin hasn't peaked yet. Sweet Pea was at his peak at lightweight. Devin hasn't peaked yet. But to answer your question, Sweet Pea, Sweet Pea was just a fucking monster at lightweight. Yeah, that was crossover marketing at the time, getting that WWE. I'm happy you said that because I actually love Ready to Rumble. Like, it is an awesome, shitty movie. I'll watch that movie right now if my son would sit down for 2 hours and watch it. Horrible movie, but I love it. Like Showgirls, another great bad movie. I think I've seen this comment like 10 times, so I will read this. The Demon, Sean Gibbons, should stay away from Casimero. He does dirty things to disrupt his career. Casimero versus Inoue is an intriguing one. Inoue is a better boxer, but Casimero can take Inoue's punches. I don't think anybody at 18 can consistently take Inoue's punches. Someone's asked, amazing we didn't get Tony and Hopkins. Yeah. Well, Tony, by the mid-90s, was a light heavyweight. After losing at 68 to Roy in 94, he goes up to 75. And then by Bernard's stardom and real peak in the late 90s, early 2000s, Tony's a cruiserweight. So he's about 30 to 40 pounds heavier than the 160-pound Bernard Hopkins. James was not about to cut weight to no 175 pounds to meet Bernard. So Bernard would have had to go all the way up to cruiserweight to do that fight. At 6'1", I would have loved to have seen how Bernard would have filled out at cruiserweight. But yeah, that fight was just never going to happen, unfortunately, man. In their primes, Hopkins, Tony, what a great fight. I mean, I'm biased. As you can see, I got Bernard Hopkins behind me. I love James Toney, but Bernard's probably my favorite fighter ever. Bernard a little more versatile than James. James liked for you to come get him so he could shoot off his counters. Bernard might have been able to make it boring and outsmart Tony and not give him too much to counter and use his length. Tony was 5'9.5". Bernard was about 6'1". So I don't know. I'm biased. I got Hopkins. Glory boy, Floyd fought and beat the best boxers in history while breaking box office records. Really? I didn't know that. That's news to all of us. No, I'm just fucking with you. I get it. Always. Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter history and hands down. Shout outs to Glory Boy and the Choice 12 for saying back-to-back very obvious things. No, it always bears repeating. I'm cool with that. Prime Ward whoops Canelo and GBGG. I agree. Those guys are both under 6 feet. They're too little for Ward. Rocky versus Raging Bull. 2 different movies. 2 different types of films. Raging Bull more realistic, gritty, psychological film about come on, Leo. We're good this time. My son interrupted it last time. Short answer. I'll still go with Rocky because it inspires you. Raging Bull is an incredible movie, though. And Martin Scorsese's the greatest director of all time. Yeah, go ahead. Ask him the questions now. Ask the little champ his questions. You got Devin Haney or Tank Davis? Which one? Say Haney or Davis? Is it Haney? Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll sign out with that. Wait, Sean, what do you think has a chance of beating Inoue in bantamweight or featherweight? No one at bantamweight, no chance. But at 122, I give the edge to Stephen Fulton. Ward loses to Bivol and Canelo. Are you saying now if he comes out of retirement? Because Prime Ward beats both, in my opinion. Oh, wait. Carson, what up, baby? What up, Carson? Man, I can't get it. Okay, where's Carson's question at? I love you, Carson. Where you at? Leo, are there any hairbrushes in the house? There are. We just woke up. Oh, best NFL blitz team. Okay. Well, in NFL blitz and blitz 99, the Broncos are the best team because they won back-to-back in 97 and 98. So the Broncos with Terrell Davis, Rod Smith, Shannon Sharp, and John Elway. And then actually the Cowboys are rated in blitz and blitz 99 because they got Dion, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman. But I'm going to say the best NFL blitz teams, and they're actually pretty good, are the Dolphins and the Niners, baby. That's the best NFL blitz teams. I even get the Jacksonville Jaguars in there every now and then as a random third team. So, but blitz 99 is coming to the house, people. Blitz 99. I got my own NFL Blitz cabinet coming to the house. But let's finish on a boxing question. Shout out to my man Carson and happy late birthday once more. Oh, Ravens. My man said the Ravens. They're not that good in blitz. Yeah, they're not. The Bucks are good though. Got hair just like Pops. Yes, he does. Has Donaire always had his wife as a trainer? No. He Donaire in his real peak had his father as his trainer. Then he switched to Robert Garcia, won a lot of titles with Robert Garcia as well. And then this late career resurgence has been with his wife. So, but all right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me. My son seems to have killed the ratings. And thanks everyone for joining. Much love, FightHype fam. We will be in Canastota this weekend. We might go live with something. We'll see how that shakes out. But we'll be at the International Boxing Hall of Fame this weekend. And then next weekend, join us live for Better Be Evan Smith round by round. For me and this little guy, we're signing out from Vegas. Goodbye, everybody.